I love you, Benji.
What's going on, y'all? Letting people come into the room. All one and two of y'all. And of course, we got some R&B playing. So take your time and get ready. Now I hope y'all staying safe out there outside. There's a war going on. Just want to let you know, as black people, make sure you got your pocket rocket. Make sure you got your butter knife. Make sure you got your stick. Make sure you got food. You got water. You got batteries. Generators. Body armor. Get anything that you can get right now. Because if y'all don't know, what happened to the Capitol was just a test drive. It's really about to go down now. So be ready so you ain't got to get ready. I'm gonna let the music play for a little while longer before I get into the topic. Like this beat. If I was still rapping, I'd probably do something to it. Now let me turn this down. And let's get into the show for all one of y'all that's watching. Alright, what's going on, y'all? You know where I'm at, and you know what I'm about to do. Welcome to the Cal Mo Show. I'm your host, Cal Mo Jr. Be sure to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my YouTube in the comments below. Alright, so let's get started. A few years ago, I believe it was either on Facebook or Twitter, I would see a lot of stepdaddy jokes, step-parent jokes. And of course it was cool because I didn't have a kid, so I couldn't really relate to it. But as I got older, it was this one joke that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, especially being the father now. It was about a man wanting to see his child, but the woman was saying, I have to check in with his stepdad first. Now, of course, people are gonna laugh, share it, do whatever. And yeah, it's funny at the moment, but let's be real. And when I'm saying this, I'm not talking about men that are not in their kids' lives. I'm not talking about coming around Johnny come lately daddies. I'm talking about dads that show up in and out every day when they don't feel like it, because that's what you do. People like me. This video, podcast, it's not coming from a place of bitterness. It's not coming from a place of hate. I just want to give a different perspective as far as going on with stepdads. So before I get into it, Don't get butt hurt. It just is what it is. As far as my side of the game, how I'm gonna break it down to you. Step parents. This is why I don't believe in step parents. When me and my ex laid down and we made Kamai, as soon as Kamai came out that womb in the hospital, I was there. I saw her come out. Cut the cord. Slept on the hospital floor for a few days. Took her home. I was with that child almost every day if I didn't have to work. Dad is the right that you have to earn every single day, whether you want to do it or not. And stepdad, that's something that my child would never utter. Unless I was to pass, unfortunately, then that's a different situation. But as far as the stepdad stuff that I see going on, especially men that are active fathers, I don't really rock with that. Now, if you want to allow that for your life, if you're a stepdad and you doing what you got to do, okay, every man has a situation where they have to do what's best for them. But as far as what's best for me and mine, ain't no step shit. I earned that title. Nobody else is going to get that title. I don't do stepdaddies. I don't do bonus parents. I don't do blended families. Coming up, that never really worked. You might see one or two work out and people share that as an example, but in real life, that's not the norm. Those things hardly ever work out. I've heard countless stories of dudes trying to step in and be a stepdad to the child, only to find out that they can't discipline the child how they want to. You're gonna come in second place. Or the worst part of it all, if y'all happen to break up, she can cut all communication with that child from you. And then there's nothing you can do about it because you're the step. You're not the biological parent. You have no rights. So why'd you do that? And like I said, I'm just speaking from my perspective. Don't get butt hurt. If you're a step and that's what you're doing, more power to you. I'm just saying for me, I'm not doing that shit. And as long as I'm alive, and I'm in Kamai's life, that ain't happening either. So let me go over some points with y'all about why I feel the way I feel. So as men, let's say you got a baby mama, you got an ex-wife, or whatever. Of course, y'all have a kid, things happen. It doesn't work out. You go through that long, hard breakup process to where you're trying to figure out your life, trying to pick up the pieces and move on, and you don't exactly know where to go. Now, time has passed. I'm going to fast forward this up. Time has passed. You might start dating around. You might be slanging meat, doing what you're doing. You're single now. You having fun doing it as a man. You're not really thinking about what your ex-woman got going on. But while you're doing that, you have to know that she's moving on as well. She's talking to different people as well. She's forming connections as well. And ultimately, she's going to be sleeping with men or a man or whatever she does. That's going to happen with her also. I notice that sometimes when we doing what we doing, we don't really think about what the woman is doing, but fellas, they do the same thing. They do the same shit. The breakup process, the grieving process is the same for both sexes. So while you moving on, you getting up under somebody, she getting up under somebody too. And y'all got a child in the middle of this. Now, let's say she wants to get serious with this man. How does that make you feel? I want you to think about it. How does it make you feel to know that the person you laid down with, that you thought you were going to spend forever with, is now with somebody else? It don't feel good, do it? No, it doesn't at all. But with time, you can not give a damn. But initially, you're going to feel some way about it, especially if you're in your child's life. Now, if your ex is just sleeping around doing what you're doing, she ain't introducing the kid, fine, do what you do. But if it's to get serious, as active fathers in your kids' lives, I just want to lay down some boundaries that you need to set to make sure that your child never calls somebody else dad. It's controversial. I don't give a damn. This is what we laying down. If you earn that title like me, you know nobody else can get that title from you. And like I said, we don't do bonuses. We don't do participation awards. That shit does not work. That only works on Facebook. It don't work in real life. As far as how it goes with me. If your woman or ex-woman happens to get in a relationship with somebody else and they getting serious, and you know that, okay, it might be a possibility that this man is going to be introduced to my child, here are some things that I would do if I was you. First of all, if that man is serious about your ex and wants to be involved, if he's anything like a man, he should be reaching out to you. That's just on some respect. I'm coming into this house. I'm about to assume responsibility of the head of the household. Let me talk to the ex-commander and get my briefing before I go. It's like the military. Let me get my briefing while you're briefing out. Let me get briefed through you. We need to speak to each other as men. And it's very important. I know you see memes that say, hey, before I become a stepdad, I need to hear your baby daddy side of the story. That's real shit. You need to sit down with that man and y'all need to have a conversation about, okay, here's the boundaries, here's what you can do, and here's what you cannot do. If this happens to me, I'm just going to use me for an example. Here's what I would do. A man is coming into my ex's life and he wants to be the head of the household now. I'm going to set him down. I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to be on some FU or trying to beef him or whatnot. We're going to have a conversation as men. Sit down, see what's going on with him, see what his intentions are. I mean, it is what it is. You got to treat it like that. I have to see what your intentions are if you're going to be in the house with my child. If you can have it your way, guys, make sure that you get 50-50 custody. Like, don't do this part-time shit. No, we don't do part-time parents over here. We full-time. So that way you can at least have your child half of the time. But if it's going to be another man in the house or present with your child, you need to be vetting this dude. Like, hey, who are you? Who your parents? What's your background? What's your intentions? Because this man's going to be around your child. And this man could potentially influence your child with his different ideologies. But if you're doing your job as a man in the first place, you're already putting the game in your child. Like, I'm already putting the game in mine. At 5 years old, it don't matter. We got curriculums that we do. We got a prayer that we do. We got an oath that we do. She already knows from the age of 5 that daddy is her daddy. Ain't no extra daddies. We ain't doing that bonus shit. Unless I was to die past, unfortunately, then in that case, I can't control that. But as long as you're in the life and you can control that, that's what you need to be doing. And like I said, this is not from a place of bitterness. You're not trying to control her relationship. But if you give and care about your child, you're going to want to know who this man is and what he's doing and what he stands for. What type of man wouldn't want to know that? How could you as a man have another man in your house with your child and you don't know anything about him? That's your child. That's the most, if you're going to be selfish over anything, you need to be selfish over your babies. If you want to have control over something, you need to have control over your offspring. This is your heir. This is your heir to the throne. This is my lineage. Can't nobody come in and put another program in what's mine. It's my child. Whether y'all together are married or not. That's just that's how we dropping game as men. That's how we need to be moving. If you're dealing with a situation like that. And I know women might be hearing this and it might be a culture shock to you, but that's it. It is what it is. Like, we've been social media has us to where we be scared to tell the truth about shit and not keep it 1,000. Like my homeboy saying there, not keep shit 1,000. If it's another man in your household, you need to be vetting that man to figure out who he is, what he's about, what's his family background, Have you been involved with kids, touching kids, or anything like that? And if I was to ever go into a situation where I'm talking to a woman and she has a child, I would expect that father to do the same thing. I'm going to reach out to him and be like, bro, this is what's going on. This is my attention. So that's the first thing about that. My second thing about that, it might be understood, but you need to let that shit be known. Look, I understand that you are in my ex's life, and I know my child is here, but you need to understand, there's only one king when it comes to my child, and that's me. I need you to think about that, digest that. There's only one king when it comes to my child, and that's me. I'm the fucking Alpha and Omega. Okay? Do you understand that? All decisions come through me. Okay, y'all can make decisions as a family or whatever when y'all doing, but if it has anything to do with my child, like, that's on me. But if it's you and her, okay, do what y'all do. But when it comes to my child, that shit falls on me. It falls on the king. It falls on general. It falls on you as a man. Don't let another man make decisions for your child without discussing it with you first. If you're in your child's life every day, don't do that. Is it unfair? Yeah, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. Because that's my child. And I would expect my child's mother to be the same way. We made that child together. So guess what? We gonna parent this child together, whether you have somebody else in the child's life or not. So once again, let me repeat that. You need to let him know that, hey, I know you can have her, but you can't have my seed. Do whatever you want to do with her, fine. But you can't have my fucking blood. You can't do that. And I'm pausing because I want you to soak that in, because men don't really talk like that in public, but it's time for us to start saying how we really feel when it comes to this type of thing. When you're involved in I got to keep qualifying it. When you're involved in your child's life. Now, if you're just a deadbeat dad or some shit like that, and you're only around a few times a week, a few times a month, just dropping off, not doing nothing, then if the man doing what he's supposed to do, then you need to step down, because you're not doing what you're doing anyway. But we're not talking about that shit, so don't bring that in here. We're talking about men and I in their child's life every day that show up to earn their title, that come in and do what they got to do even when they don't want to do it. Me, for an example, I just left the house at, 3 o'clock this morning, spending time with my child. I still came to work, still did what I had to do, and guess what I'm finna do this weekend? I'm finna be right back with my child. The whole reason I'm in Maryland, the whole reason I'm here, still here, is because my child is here. I could have been left. I could have been went back home, doing whatever I'm doing, and not giving a fuck. But guess what? I made sacrifice on top of sacrifice on top of sacrifice to make sure that Kamai sees me as much as I can, because that's how much being a father matters to me. And if it matters to you, this is the type of stuff you need to be thinking about, because people move on. You can't control her. You can't control her relationship. If she want to do what she do, fine, let her do that. You can't control her. And when I'm saying about controlling your child, I'm not saying control your child to control her. I'm saying you need to be setting boundaries as a man. This is what we gonna do moving forward. If you don't like it, get the fuck on. This is my child. And like I said, I would expect the woman to be the exact same way, because I'm not with this stepdaddy culture shit. I'm sorry, I'm not. Now, I've seen a lot of guys that were great men, stand-up men, even in my family, that took in kids that weren't theirs. Like, I got a cousin that's my cousin. Like, we blood, even though we not blood, we cousins. Because I seen how my uncle raised him, and I seen how stand-up he was, and how he came in and he transformed everything. I'll never talk about that, but guess what? We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about today as men, and you're dealing with somebody that's coming in your child's life that you don't know and that you need to know. Y'all better become buddies. Y'all better get each other's numbers. Y'all better become Facebook friends. You better get to know them. Because if it was me, and I'm talking to a woman and she has a child, I'm going to get to know him. And guess what? I know my role. That's not my child. I can't discipline that child the way you can. I can't talk to that child the way you can. And I shouldn't have a problem with that because it's not my child. I didn't lay down with him and make the child. You did. So that's your right as a man. I don't give a fuck about all this new stuff they're talking about as far as blending families and all that shit. That shit don't work. Not to me. Not in my household. No. And I might have a biased opinion because my dad was in my life. So it wasn't never no step anything. It was my dad, then it was me. And it's going to be me and Kamai, and it's going to be so forth and so forth and so forth. That more names going to carry on. That bloodline is going to carry on. And I'm going to make sure it do. But like I said, that's another point. Let me go to another one. I'm kind of going to pivot a little bit. So here's another reason why I don't kind of agree with the stepdad thing, a step parent thing. People break up all the time. Y'all know this. Divorces at like what, 51%? Like 75% of women are initiating divorces, breakups. There's no, I can't even imagine how it could feel to you to step into a child's life from birth. So you're not the father or whatnot. You just stepped in 1 year, 2 years, and you trying to be there, do everything you can for the child. You took him in as your own. You did all this stuff for him. You end up breaking up with the mom, and now you don't have access to that child no more. That happens a lot more than we like to talk about, but I know men still dealing with heartbreak to this day because they stepped up. They did the step up thing. That's a trick, guys. Don't do that. They did the step up thing. They stepped up into another man's role that man should have been doing in the first place, by the way. I'm not letting him out the hood. That man should have been doing that in the first place. But the other man, the stepdaddy, he stepped into the role, basically became this girl's father. Now they done broke up. Now he don't have access to the child no more. Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? When people break up all the time. And I'm not saying like don't go into a situation thinking it's gonna fail, but there's certain things you got to think about, bros, when you step into a situation with somebody with a child. And I'm saying this as a man with a child. I don't expect no. First of all, let me get this straight. Let me clear the air. I don't expect no woman to accept my child. If she with it, then fine. If she's not, that's fine. I totally understand. Like I said, she has a mom. She don't need a bonus mom. She got bonus parents, and you want to know who those are? Her grandparents. Those are bonus parents. My child has a stepdad. You want to know who that is? My daddy. So we got a blended family, and I know a lot of people ain't fortunate to have that kind of structure in their life, but I was. I can't help that. So that's how we move. But like I was saying, man, don't get butt hurt over the video. This is just my personal experience. You don't have to do it. Like I said, if that's what you're doing, that's totally fine. That's up to you. Every man has to make a choice for himself. But I'm talking about as far as me. Don't ever put yourself in a situation to where your child has to call another man daddy. That's like the most. That's the weakest shit that you could ever be in. That's if you're not doing what you got to do. Like I said, don't ever do that. Like, what type of man? How could you live with yourself knowing that your child is calling another man daddy? How could you live with yourself as a man? Now, if you're not in the child's life, then, like I said, if you're not in the kid's life, and that man doing what he's supposed to do, then guess what? You just got demoted. So yeah, the child's gonna call them dad. Nothing you can do about that. But if you in the child's life every day, and it might be an ego thing, I don't know. Shit, we egotistical as males. It is what it is. And it might be some macho bravo shit, but I deserve it. The fuck? That's my child. If I don't brag about that, then what else can I brag on? Like, we made it to where men can't say how they feel about this shit without being labeled bitter or you trying to be possessive. No, that's not what it is. You have to lay boundaries as men. We let too much shit slide in our community. We let everything be cool, You can do what you want to do. Oh, that's cool. Niggas don't say nothing, and they just go back, and they feeling some type of way. Versus putting it all on the line and letting you know this is how we gonna be moving forward from here on out. And I know a lot of women might not like this, a lot of dudes might not like this, but this the way it's gonna have to be. If you anything like me, this is the way it's gonna have to be. Period. So if your woman messing with somebody, or your ex-woman, she messing with somebody else, and if it's getting serious, now like I said, if they just fucking around, they're fine. It is what it is. But if they're getting serious, that man should be trying to reach out to you to check your temperature if he anything of a real man. Okay? He should be trying to reach out to you. It's common courtesy. It's politics. It's street politics. You don't go nowhere. You don't go nowhere that's new and don't reach out to nobody. You better find out the politics of that land before you go out there. Find out, okay, what's this, what's that, what I can and can't do. It's common courtesy. Especially if you're gonna be in this child's life that's not yours. And as you, as the father, you need to be laying down law. This what it is. I'm the dad. I'm the end all be all. That's how it's gonna fucking be. Now you can deal with it or you can't deal with it. And you see this confrontation I'm giving you. This is the reason why most of those blended families don't really work like that. Especially if the man is in the child's life like that. You feel me? Because if you got two men that are bumping heads and you want to be the ruler over something that's not yours, we're not doing that. That ain't happening. That's not happening. I'm sorry, Jack. That ain't happening. They ain't going down. Not without a fight. But like I said, we're gonna be respectful as men and we're gonna talk it out. But you need to let them know. In this situation, you need to be that alpha male. You need to dominate and let them know this is what it is. Because if a man is moving into a situation with some kids that ain't his, he already in the fucked up position anyway. Because now you playing somebody else's game. You playing somebody else's save game. And it's just like if I was to do it, I'd be doing the same. I'm playing somebody else's save game, but I'm taking the risk, and you know what it is before you do it. Am I saying that women can't find love and remarry and do all this other stuff? Yes, they can. They can. They ain't. I don't give a damn about that. Like I said, you can have her, but you can't have my child. Because I made that. I showed up for that every day. And nobody else gonna take that away from me. So that's pretty much my video for this evening. I just want to chop it up with y'all real quick about stepdads and how I feel about it, and about how in my life that there's not gonna be a stepdad. And even if I was to pass, I'm making all these videos as a digital footprint so Kamai can see this later on. So just in case she doesn't hear from me, she can hear from me in depth to know this is what your daddy was on. So I'm still gonna be raising my daddy. I'm still gonna be raising my child from the grave. But that's what it's gonna be. But anyway, follow my YouTube channel. It's in the comments. The Cal Mo Show. That's The Cal Mo Show. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Calmo Jr. CALMOJR. Like I said, we already got Cali Chulo popping. That's pretty a business that's running on its own. So while that's running on autopilot, I want to do something else. I want to pivot and talk about my experience with y'all. But anyway, I'm out of here.